June 8, 2026, the Pentagon officially listed Alibaba as a Chinese military company. But your index fund didn't sell a share, your retirement account didn't move, and the Defense Department couldn't make it. I'm David, and this is how a blacklist became worthless. Alibaba's secret was Qianxun. In 2015, Alibaba co-founded a company called Qianxun Spatial Intelligence with Norinco, one of China's biggest arms dealers. Norinco kept 32%. By 2020, Qianxun had built 2,800 ground stations that feed into China's military satellite system, BeiDou. The PLA uses BeiDou in combat training. Alibaba was upstream of the whole thing, the Pentagon noticed. On June 8, 2026, they added Alibaba to the Section 1260H list, a formal designation that Alibaba serves China's military. But the list doesn't ban you from owning Alibaba stock. It just bans the Pentagon from doing business with Alibaba after June 30th, a contracting ban. So Vanguard still holds it, Fidelity still holds it, your index fund still holds it. Millions of passive investors woke up owning a piece of a company the US government had just called a military asset, and there was nothing stopping them. The red column shows what Section 1260H actually does, bars the Pentagon from Alibaba contracts, takes effect June 30th. But the secondary column is why that matters. The law doesn't block passive funds from holding the stock. AGA2 doesn't force divestment, doesn't restrict your allies from using Alibaba Cloud, doesn't even prevent the company from accessing customer data. It's a signal, not a stop. The reason the Pentagon acted is the Fusion Doctrine. It's a policy that runs through every major Chinese company like wiring through a house. Xi Jinping's government passed a law. It's not a request, it's a legal requirement that says every company in China must serve national security when asked, not when they feel like it, when they're told. That means Alibaba can't refuse. It means if the PLA shows up and says, we need access to your cloud, or your facial recognition, or your satellite ground stations, Alibaba says yes. It's not a choice. There's no such thing as a civilian company in China anymore. The law turned them all into appendages of the state. That's why the Pentagon was worried enough to act. Section 1260H isn't really about Alibaba. It's about saying, we see you, we see the fusion, we're putting you on notice. But the notice is toothless, because the real problem, the law that binds Alibaba to the state, that law can't be stopped by a contracting ban. It's embedded in how China works now. And that's what the Pentagon was actually afraid of. Qianxun Spatial Intelligence is the smoking gun. Alibaba co-founded it in 2015 with Norinco, a state-owned arms company that exports weapons to countries the US has sanctioned. Norinco owns 32% of Qianxun outright. Alibaba holds the rest through tied executives. What Qianxun built is a network, 2,800 ground stations scattered across China that feed into BeiDou, China's military satellite system. It's their GPS, but it's military-grade. The People's Liberation Army uses BeiDou in combat drills, airborne operations, field exercises, live operational use. Qianxun also holds patents with Norinco on drone technology. The whole setup is Alibaba provided the cloud infrastructure, Norinco provided the military relationship, and together they built the physical backbone of China's military satellite coverage. When the Pentagon added Alibaba to the list, they were pointing at Qianxun. But Qianxun itself isn't on the list. Neither is Norinco. It's been under US sanctions for years already, so the whole network stays standing. Alibaba Cloud also builds something that looks different but works the same way. In 2014, it launched a facial recognition service for Xinjiang's police, a system that could detect and alert on Uyghurs. The company put it on a public API. Customers could request alerts whenever the system spotted a Uyghur face. It was marketed as a product. When IPVM, a surveillance watchdog, published the details in 2020, Alibaba took the documentation down. No public statement, no apology, just deletion. The technology itself didn't disappear. It got quieter. By 2023, an IPVM investigation found that the same police cloud system was tracking foreign journalists entering Xinjiang. Every entry was logged, every movement mapped, and it was running on Alibaba infrastructure. This wasn't a mistake or a side effect. The Ministry of Public Security had been sponsoring police cloud deployments since 2013, tenders in city after city, specifically asking for surveillance of people of certain ethnicities, Uyghurs, from South Xinjiang. Alibaba built the system they were asking for. Alibaba Cloud doesn't just serve China. Amazon has used it. Microsoft partners with it. Every major Japanese conglomerate. The European Union's firms. The infrastructure is too useful to leave. That's the core trap. The Pentagon can list Alibaba, but it can't tell Apple to move Asian data off Alibaba's servers by tomorrow. Can't tell BMW to find a new cloud provider by next month. The cost is too high. The replacement takes years. On June 8th, the Pentagon designated Alibaba. On June 9th, Alibaba Cloud's customers kept logging in. They had no choice. The designated military company still held the data, still processed the transactions, still ran the operations, and there was no off-ramp. Japan's financial system uses Alibaba Cloud. EU energy firms use it. American tech companies use it for Asia. They all saw the news and calculated the same. The cost of leaving is too high. We stay. We accept the risk. We stay. Alibaba trades on the US stock exchange. It's in the S&P 500. It's in every major index fund. Millions of passive investors hold it, not by choice, but because the index told their fund to own a slice. If the index fund tries to dump Alibaba because the Pentagon listed it, the fund has to sell millions of shares fast. That crashes the price. The pension funds tracking the index get hit. Teachers' retirement plans get hit. And the fund managers get sued for breaching fiduciary duty. They're legally required to track the index, not to play politics. So the fund can't sell. The Pentagon can designate the company. But the law that binds the fund to the index is older and stronger than the law that lists the company. The managers have to choose, follow the Pentagon and break your legal obligation, or follow the law and hold a military company. There's no way out that doesn't hurt someone. Huawei looks like a win. The US banned Huawei phones and networking gear, and it's stuck because hardware is replaceable. You pull out a Huawei router, plug in a Cisco, and the network runs on. Same function, different vendor. Alibaba Cloud is the opposite. It's not a single product. It's an operating system for how companies do business. Data storage, machine learning, backups, failover, real-time processing, all of it lives on Alibaba's servers. A year of configuration, passwords, integrations. Moving means a complete rebuild. You can't swap it out overnight. You can't even swap it out in a year. And there's no replacement with the same cost or reach in Asia. So everyone stays. The Pentagon can list Alibaba 100 times. But the designation only bans DoD contracts. It doesn't touch the cloud customers. It doesn't cut the power. It leaves the system running. Huawei got crushed because you can replace a phone. Alibaba's fortress is that you can't replace an ecosystem. Washington has 3 realistic moves. 1. Tighter CFI-US review. The committee that approves foreign investment in the US could ban any American company from using Alibaba Cloud. But CFI-US blockage tanks growth. Tech budget spike. The US economy takes a hit. 2. Data firewalls. You could mandate end-to-end encryption So Alibaba physically can't read the data flowing through its servers. But that fragmentizes the internet. European data stays walled off. Asian data can't flow west. The global cloud market breaks into regional silos. 3. Acceptance. You admit Alibaba's here, it's staying, and you just manage the risk. Watch it closely, live with it. But then the Pentagon's list becomes a press release, and you're admitting China won the embedding game. Each option costs something. Growth, infrastructure, credibility. So Washington chose the fourth path. Do nothing that hurts today. Name Alibaba. Keep the system whole. Hope the crisis doesn't come. The Pentagon listed Alibaba, but left the system intact. Policy that doesn't actually change anything. Like and subscribe if you want to know what happens next. I'm David. See you tomorrow.